everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Black Rose Wars Rebirth expansion. This is for the Dread Forge. This is a really fun expansion because it adds a bunch of really cool mechanics to the game. So we are going to get a new Mage. We're going to get a new avatar to fight against. The base game had Possessed, which is one of the other mages being controlled. Now we're getting a specific, more themed enemy, which is really cool. We're getting some more evocations to fight as well, so that's always fun. We're also getting a new spell school, the Forge School, so we're getting a new set of cards to play as to swap out, so it gets you a bunch more stuff there. And then there's also some crossover expansions for Nova Eatus Renaissance, which is another game in the whole world here, the Nova Eatus Chronicles, so we get some cards for that as well. Again, this is an expansion right here. You must have the core game to play this, obviously, because you have to be able to swap it in and out. And now, specifically, this says Rebirth. I'm going to mention that because lots of the stuff, if you have the original Black Rose Wars, you can swap out some of the mages, some of the schools, that would be fine. The avatar might not work properly without some of the new stuff. It might. The Black Rose War, the original game wasn't designed to be worked with avatar, so it might not work directly. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop in and see what we all got. We got some really cool stuff here. Alright, so in the Dread Forge, we're just going to go through the book and see some stuff we got. We're going to have our brand new Mage. Be swapped out for any other mage if you like. He has his personal spells. We're going to get our spell school and our reference card for it, and our spell cards. We'll get into those. A new forgotten spell, a new evocation card. We're also getting some equipment evocation cards. So you'll be add these cards to the evocation card deck of the core games. We're going to have some interesting things there. Some more upgrade cards. So that's really fun that we're getting some more of those. And 5 regular evocation cards. Then for the avatar stuff, we're getting our avatar card, our command card, which is their deck, some glyph tokens they're going to use, special mechanics, and their special evocation card. Plus, we'll get 3 legendary scenario components if we want to play a special scenario. There's all of our miniatures. We'll look into those a little bit more. All the rules for the avatar we'll go over when we get to the avatar. And then finally, there's the legendary scenarios. So you can actually play a brand new scenario to set up if you'd like a little bit of different things. Kind of showing how you should set up for up to 6 players, which adds some new things. And then the other half of the book, if we flip the manual over, is for Magma. This is for the Nova Eatus Renaissance, and it just shows we're getting mission envelope. Actually, I don't think they sent us envelopes, unfortunately, but we have an activation token. Mission cards, mission events, rewards, and magma action cards. And they'll explain kind of how they work for that expansion. So cool. We get a bunch of neat stuff in this set. So let's just go ahead and hop in and see what we have. We're going to start with our brand new mage, which is Enta, who's a Cyclops. There's the back of the box. Yeah, I love getting to read some of this stuff. The powerful Magister Enta, an incredible ancient Cyclops, has decided to awaken the powers of the Forge in order to claim the throne of the Black Rose for himself. To accomplish his goal, he will not hesitate to use Magma, his massive glowing golem formed by the Forge's flames. Spanish will discover the power of the players can be harnessed but never tamed. So cool. So we are getting 2 brand new mage things. So we're getting 1 for our hero and 1 for our avatar that fit our brand new guy. So you can fit him as you're playing as him. Unfortunately, it only has the red one. It's an additional red one instead of 1 for every color. But then we have an additional black one as well for the avatar. Just extra stuff in case you need them for that. I should take a look at his thing. But now he has some different stats than... Oh, he might not fit in my thing. He's not going to fit in my stand. Yeah, so he has some different stats than some of the original guys from the core sets, which is really fun to get these in expansion. So he has 12 health, 8 cards he can hold, but he has 2 attack, 2 movement, and 1 quest. So usually it was about 7 and 11. or 10 and 8. It was somewhere in those numbers. But they usually had 2, 2, and 2. So he has one less quest, but I think it boosts up his hand size a little bit. His hand or his health. So he gets a little bit higher there. He's just not questing as much. Which is very interesting. Alright, now let's take a look at his massive size miniature. So there he is. He's holding a anvil in his hand. He's got a big giant hammer. Got a little detailed trinkets on there. He's got this steampunky type backpack, which is really cool. Plus he has like a third grabber claw coming off of that. He's also holding his staff, so that's pretty neat. I'm going to see if I can get a different angle on some of this. So yeah, we are getting one of him. And then let's take a look at what his spell cards do. So he has Master Craftsman. So like all the other mages, they're going to have a lot of stuff where they're better at one particular school than the other. And obviously, because he comes at the Forge school, he's going to be better suited to use the Forge. So he has a contingency spell that does fire and targets one space away. Summon a pupa. Assign an upgrade of your choice to it when of your pupa activates. So we've had like the Technomancy, which will summon stuff and add things to it. This is going to be a very similar idea. We're going to get a summon little extra guys. And we have 6 of them. I'm just going to show those guys off really quick. So we have the little pupa miniatures. They're little like knighty type robots with little feathers. Little mini golems, and we'll get to their evocation cards in a minute. But there's 6 of them. They all look the same. Yeah, they did attach some upgrades to them, so that's kind of cool. The other one was adding them to cadavers. These are adding them to robots. If we flip his card over to his other side, he has contingency, fire, and target yourself. Summon equipment of your choice. You may move up to one of. You may move 1. You may perform an attack against a model at 0 spaces away. So either he can summon a thing and augment it and make it better, or he can basically equip himself and give himself items. He's a really neat mechanic. I'm going to guess the Forge School also has ways for you to add more items to yourself and draw them. He just has a way to do it specifically by himself. Our other spell we have here is our Lava Flow. So this is our forgotten spell. Combat spell, fire 1 space away. Summon Ignis. Convert 2 damage on target model. Convert 2 on target model. Convert 2 on target model. Pretty nice. And if we flip that one over, we are going to get Lava Flow. So combat, fire 1 space away. Summon Ignis, it activates. So either you can summon him and do some extra convert some damage, or you can summon him and he gets to attack. Who is Ignis, you might ask? He's also magma, so it's kind of interesting. So if you're playing him as a summonable forgotten evocation, he's Ignis. But if you're summoning him with the avatar as a servant, he becomes magma. So he kind of just to play a different one, or in the other game. But yeah, this big giant fiery golem. Yeah, he's not even standing all the way up. Like they could have made him like another 3 inches taller by just having him stand. So that's pretty cool that we got him. I just want to show up. So that's how big he is. That's how big our... Whoops. He fell right off. And again, the guys with the bigger bases, they won't have rings, but they take up the spot of one of your rings. Because you can normally have only one larger sized evocation. So if you summon Ignis, you don't get another big guy. They just didn't make rings for everyone. That's how big those 2 guys are. That's how big the pupa is. And then just as a size comparison, this is Prespero from one of the other expansions. That's our size, a typical size mages. I'm trying to kind of hold these guys on there. So yeah, you can see how big they are compared to each other. So that's pretty cool. Extra large miniatures are always fun to have. Let's look at our evocation cards really quick so we can see what those guys do before we jump into our spell school. So we have the Pupa, who's a construct. So this is also fun because we have some of the other guys. I think it's the Nigritos and the Albedos, if I remember how they're pronounced right, from the core set, which are also constructs. Here's more guys that are constructs you can interact with. Oh, sorry, I thought we had 6. We only have 5 of them. We have 5. They have all the same cards. This model has 1 attack if there's at least 1 instability 1-0 away from it. So as long as it's in a room that has an instability, it gains an extra attack. Otherwise, it's 2-1-2. So pretty fun there. Then we will also have, there's Magnus's picture, or Ignis's picture. It's kind of cool. It's like, the charcoal, the lava flowing through him. So there he is as a construct. Forgotten. He has +1 attack for each damage on this card. Each time Ignis owner suffers damage, Ignis can suffer 1 of those in their place. When Ignis suffers damage, it suffers 1 of those damage and ignores the rest. So that's kind of cool. So it could opt to take a bunch of damage. It only takes 1 damage at a time, and then it just gets stronger. Otherwise, it's 2 movement, 2 attack, and 5 hit points. We do have another one for Magma, the Construct Servant, but we'll look at that one when we get to the Avatar, because it's an Avatar card. Just kind of part of that deck. It doesn't get mixed in with the other ones. Alright, we do also have some more upgrades. So let's look at those things. We have some brand new upgrades. So there's upgrade cards, you can just get added in there. We have 3 copies of each. So this is fun because that way, even if you don't use the Forge and you don't use any of this stuff, you can add these in with the other upgrades, or vice versa. So you have Skin Blade. This model has +2 attack. After this model performs an attack, the rose inflicts 2 damage to it. We have 3 copies of War Scratch. At the end of its activation phase, during the evocation phase, this model activates 1 additional time. If it does, at the end of the additional activation, remove it. So kind of bonuses, but with downsides. I think the original upgrades were like kind of like chemically based sort of things, or they're like mixtures. These are kind of like more, a little bit more metallic and stuff, so it's kind of interesting. Grafted Crossbow. Whenever this model performs an attack against a mage, it does not inflict any damage, and its controller steals 1 rose from the target. Interesting. So it's not bad if you're throwing this on someone that this model performs an attack against the mage. It does not inflict any damage, and its controller steals 1 rose from the target. So just steal roses. So that's kind of a fun little thing too. So you can attack and do some damage that way. Although better if you're doing like little 1-shot guys versus throwing a guy that's like Ignis who'd be doing like 4 or 5 damage maybe. We have 3 copies of Hyperdermis. This model has +1 attack, +1 health, but -1 speed. And then the final one is we have Pegasus Feathers. At the end of this model's activation, its controller may place 1 instability, 1 space from it. So fun. Extra little upgrade, kind of neat things to give your characters. Then the other one we had that was mentioned, which is for Enka's special, his signature spell, are the equipment cards. So you have a bunch of equipment cards, and they're going to have different backs on each one versus all the other ones having the same. But we have 3 copies of each. We have Tartarus's Axe. So it says you have +2 attack, and this has 1 damage. Do I have anything in here that explains exactly how equipment works? Not really. I am just assuming that it means it can take damage on here. Alright, we're going to look at the Forge rules card here. It actually explains how equipment works before we get too much into the rest of them. Some spells this will allow you to summon evocations with the equipment special archetype. Equipment follows these rules. And equipment can be targeted as though it were an evocation. 0 spaces from the mage who owns it. The equipment with the 0 symbol ignores all damage inflicted by effects to the target in area. So it can't area of effect target. They have to target it specifically. And equipment cannot have upgrades assigned to it. And mage cannot own more than one equipment of the same name. So what this is the idea is instead of summoning a creature to go fight for you, you are summoning equipment to do extra damage or boost yourself up, is the idea. But it's still considered an evocation. It's like a summoned item. And then some spells will school assign an upgrade card to evocation cards. The upgrades must be taken from the deck and placed next to the target evocation card. Evocation can have a maximum of one upgrade assigned to it. An upgrade assigned already has one assigned, you can choose which of those upgrades to keep and discard the other. If the spell assigns a specific upgrade, there are no more cards, you cannot assign them. So cool. So yeah, then basically that one means is I can basically summon this axe. I can get 2 extra attack for my mage, but it only has 1 damage. So someone flicks 1 damage to my evocation, targeting it in my space, it can destroy it. But it's still kind of a fun little concept. We have, again, 3 copies of each. We have Mars Claws. When you inflict damage while performing an attack, you may convert 2 to the target, and it says 3 health. We have Euros Bow. You may perform the following action. Aim at the heart. Physical action. You inflict 1 damage to target mage 2 spaces away. If you do, steal 1 from the target. So it's kind of neat. They're making the ranged attacks like you steal their points. And then we have Talus's Corset. When you suffer damage, this equipment suffers 1 of those in your place. When this equipment is removed, place 2 instability on that space. Now, this one cannot be targeted just by the room. The other ones, if they target your room, they can do damage to your equipment too. They're like fireballing your entire room. They can hit the rest of them, but this one you have to specifically target it. This equipment is removed, place 2 instability. That's kind of fun. And then the last one we got is Winged Sandals. You have +1 movement. Activated traps do not trigger when you enter a room. So those are really cool. Just extra little upgrades. I would say it'd be neat if they added a bunch more. I honestly like maybe another set of like 5 or 6. Just different ones and you have more options when you're playing. But if they're currently right now, if they're only summonable with the Forge or by Enka himself, and he can only equip them to himself, it doesn't make sense to make a ton of them. Whereas if you add more Jinx spells or some other upgrades, some of them, if they have more options to summon them, different spells and classes, it could definitely be worth it. Alright, then let's hop into our spell school. We have the Forge. So the Forge has different symbols. There's Automation and Divine Favor. So like all the rest of them, we'll have 3 copies of each card. We've already saw what the stuff does, so let's just hop into these. So we have Shiny Automaton. Contingency, targets and evocation. Target a construct, it activates under your control, or summon a Pupa in any location. So cool. Which one do you want to do? And then we have remove 1 instability if you do summon a Pupa. Remove 2 of your instability if you do summon a Pupa. Nice. So you can destroy the buildings. Basically, you're supposed to be rebuilding. Instead, you're doing is you're removing the instability. So you're destroying the building people are trying to rebuild to summon things. You're constructing stuff out of it. That's kind of cool. And again, we have construct. So if we have a Technomancy school or anyone else uses constructs, they can work with both decks. You can kind of mix and match them. That's the whole fun part about getting more decks, because there might be, you know, instead of having 6 decks out, they're all vastly different. You could have 2 sets of 3 decks that all kind of share similarities. Alright, up next we have Hammer and Anvil. Summoning a Pupa, assigning an upgrade or choice to it. That's always fun. I'll have to maybe do these differently. Target a construct, activate a 0 from the target, or target construct and activate it under your control. So you can activate a room that your construct is in, or a construct is in, or you can activate the construct itself. I'm just going to throw up 1 at a time here, otherwise I'm going to mess them up. Cyclopean Command. Another mage inflicts damage to you. So this is a trap? Oh, it's a protection. It has a shield there. Target a construct, it activates under your control, or summon a Pupa. So yeah, lots of the same stuff here. As a mage inflicts damage to you, convert 1 instability on each 0 from each of your constructs. So yes, this is what you want to do, is you want to spread these constructs out, and then you can do a lot of instability changing. We have Blacksmith's Chant. Removing evocation with a heart value of 3 or less. If you do, inflict 2 damage to each mage 1 space from the target. And it can be any evocation, right? Nice. Basically, you're kind of like exploding a guy. It's always fun. Or, target one of your evocations. Remove the target. If you do, inflict 2 damage plus 2 for each upgrade assigned to the target in a 0 space run. Now, you can only assign 1 unless there's some other rule that breaks that. So, but still, it's going to be able to do up to 4 damage. So it does say right, yeah, you can only maximum 1 upgrade assigned to it for each upgrade assigned to the target. So yeah, unless there's some effect or thing that lets you do more, it should be kind of cool, but I haven't seen one yet. Mass production. Summon a pupa. One of your pupas suffers 1 damage from the black rose. Also, just weakens it a little bit. Has what, 2 health? So yeah, just summon more, but the room doesn't like the unnaturalness of it, I guess. Or replacing a mode of instability equal to the number of your constructs plus 1. Hammerfall. Inflict 2 damage, place 2 instability, or inflict 2 damage, activate the room even if used. Nice. And then inflict 2 damage. If you defeated a model due to the effect, summon a pupa, 0 space from yourself. Chain Lightning. Inflict 2 damage. Inflict 1 damage in each 1 room from the target. Oh, that's cool. So you target a room up to 2 spaces away, 2 damage, and every room around it gets an extra damage. That's awesome. Inflict 3 damage. Inflict 2 to a different model, 2 spaces from yourself. Inflict 2 damage to another different model, 3 spaces from yourself. So cool. So the one targets a room and spreads out. This one instead hits it. Inflict the damage to a guy that's 1 space away. And then, one that's 2 spaces away, and then 3. So it's changing from kind of 1 to the next, but they're going away from you, so it's not 1 from that, then 1 from that guy, then 1 from that guy. This is kind of almost interesting, because technically you could kind of cheat that, because you could go, like, if you're standing in a corner, you could go one direction, 1 the other, and then 1 the other way, so you can chain out like in a circle around you instead of lightning from 1 person to the next. But I guess that's also to stop you from, I'm going to target model A, and then I'm going to target B, and then you target back to model A. So maybe that's why they did that. So it has to keep moving farther away from you. Hardened Blade. Assign the Skin Blade upgrade to the target. It activates under your control. So this is kind of a tricky one, right? So you could give an upgrade to somebody else's evocation if you wanted to, and then you could use it for a turn, if that's something you're willing to do. Otherwise, we have Summon Tartarus's Axe. If you do, you may perform an attack against a 0. So this is kind of fun, where you get these cards that are actually going to summon each of the equipment, or specific equipment, or summon upgrades. So Mars' Glory. Assign the War Scratch upgrade to the target. If you do, inflict damage equal to the damage value 1 space from it. Obviously, you probably want to throw these on your own guys, but... Or summon Mars' Claws. If you do, you may perform an attack against a model 0 spaces away. The Bewitching Garments. Assign the Grafted Crossbow upgrade to the target. Target activates under your control, heal 1 damage on yourself. Or, summon Eros Bow, heal 2 damage, place 1 instability in your space. Talus's Intervention. Protection spell. One of your evocations suffers damage. Target that evocation, it ignores one of those damages, or each of those damages, assign Hypodermis. That's fun. So, I'm going to take them out, and then, nope, you're not. Or another mage inflicts damage to you. Ignore 2 damage and summon your corset. So you ignore the damage, plus you get a bonus defense. And then the last one is Divine Wings. Assign the Pegasus Feathers upgrade to the target. It activates under your control. And if we flip this one, it says summon winged sandals, place yourself in any space. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, so that's pretty neat. So far we have a big model for evocation. We can summon like the Forgotten spell. We have a new Mage, which has some really cool abilities. We have some new upgrades, some new equipment spells which only so far work with this. The upgrades can work with the other schools, but the equipment so far exclusive to this, with the exception of if you have him, you can like if you don't have the Forge School, he can at least still make use of all the equipment himself, which is really cool. So yeah, that's what we have. We're gonna do part 1 here. We'll come back to part 2 and we'll look at the avatar stuff, just because it's a little bit more to go over. And in case you're not interested in that, you don't have to watch that half. All right, see you guys in part 2. Bye.